Hey, welcome to the series of everything you need to know about Python in simplest possible way. In this video, we will discuss how this else works in loops. So previously, we have seen how this else works in conditional statements. Those are with if statements, right? So in this video, we will see how we can use this else regarding with loops. So let us go ahead and see how this else works with for loops and how this else works with while loop. So first we will be understanding this how else works with the for loop. So first we will understand the syntax. So let us go ahead and see the syntax of this particular else with for loop. So for that reason I will use a for loop. Per element we will be iterating through elements, right? So for that reason I will take this element in some iterable. So I am mentioning some iterable here. So this is an element we are iterating through an element through an iterable. So in this, what we will be doing is that we generally execute some statements, right, inside of this for loop. So for that reason, I will be mentioning statement. So after that, when we wanted to exit from this loop, we will be using break, right? So for that reason, I am mentioning a condition for break. So this will be a break condition. So why I am mentioning this break condition, I will let you know. So now inside of this break condition, we will be using this break in order to come out of this loop whenever this condition becomes true, right? So at that time, what we will be doing is that we will be mentioning this else condition. So this is else block. So why I am mentioning this particular break condition is that we will be using this else only when we have this particular break inside of this for loop. So if this break condition becomes true when we execute this particular break condition inside of this for loop, we won't execute this particular else block. So if we execute all these particular for loop completely without executing this break, then only we will be executing this particular else block. I hope that makes some clarity to you. So now we will see an example so that you can able to understand more clearly what I have just said now. So for that reason, what I will be doing is that I will take some iterable which is numbers. So now I am taking the numbers list which is from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like that we have some numbers. So after that what I will be doing is that in order to iterate through these numbers I will use loop. So for number, so by using this number variable we will be iterating through this numbers list. Number in numbers. So inside of this, what we will be doing is that we will be checking some condition, which is what we use to break this particular loop. So for that reason, I am using if. I will be checking some condition. So I will be using this particular number. So this particular number equal to any specific number that we have here, we will be breaking that loop. So instead of directly mention 3 or 4, I will take input from the user so that we can able to dynamically break this loop as per user input. So for that reason, I will be taking a variable search here. So based on the search, we will be breaking this particular loop if the number exists. So for that reason, I am taking input and asking enter a search number. So now after what we will be doing is that we will compare this particular number, whatever the number that we are iterating here through with this particular search. If both are true, we will be breaking. So I will compare here, and now what we will be doing is that whenever this particular number reaches and this number is equal to this particular such value, so what we will be doing, we will be breaking this particular loop. So after that, in order to know what values we are having here, we will be iterating, right? So for that reason, I will just print this particular number here. So that is what we are iterating, right? So in here also, I will mention some print statement in order to know that we are breaking this particular loop. So as and when this condition becomes true, we will come here and know this break is happening. So breaking at some search value, right? We are using this search value. So for that reason, I will mention this search. We can mention this number also. That doesn't matter. I am mentioning search here. So after that, out of this loop, what we will be mentioning is that we will be mentioning an else block. So in this else block, what I am printing is that the search element not found. So we are trying to search this particular element, right? Whatever the element that we are taking from the user. So that is what we are using in order to search here. So after, when we don't find this element here, I am printing in the else block as the search element is not found. So now if I execute this, so it was asking me to enter any number. So if I give, let's say 5 here, you can see here, as and when we come to the value 5, we are printing all the numbers. As and when we come to 5, we are breaking at 5. So this block is executed. We have come out of this loop, and you can observe that this else block is not printed. So now I will give one more number. So let's say I will give the number that is not present in this particular list. Let's say I will give 10 here. So still you can see this particular result as the search element is not found. So because the 10 is not present in the list, but because of that reason, we are executing this particular else block, because this particular break is not happening. So by this you can able to understand, we can use this else block with the loops, which is for loop, and when we don't execute this break inside of this for loop, then we can execute this else block. If this break condition becomes true and if we break this particular loop, then this else block won't be executed. I hope now you can able to understand how we can use else with this particular loops. So now what we will be doing is that we will be understanding how this else works with the while loop. So let us go ahead and see how the syntax there for while loop. So this is similar with the for loop also. Let us see. So while, we will be using while in order to as long as a condition becomes true, we will be executing that while loop, right? So for that reason, I will be having a condition here. What condition it is? It is a while condition. So as long as this while condition becomes true, we will be executing the statement that are present in the while block, right? So in here, what we will be having? We will be having some statements. So after that, what we will be having, in order to understand this particular else, we need to have break statement, right? So for that reason, I will use if, I will use break condition here. So I am mentioning break condition. When this break condition becomes true, we will be having some statement, or we can directly mention a break here. So when this break executed, when this particular break condition true, and when this break executed, we will be coming out of this while block. So after that, what we will be doing is that we will be having an else in order to know this break got executed or break does not executed. So for that reason, we will be having some statement here. So that is to mention this break is not executed, or we can do some other process when this break not executed by using this else block. I hope you have got some idea how we can use this particular else with while loop. Let us understand how this works with some example. So for that reason, I will take a number. This number will be starting with 1. So after that, what we will be doing is that we will be incrementing this particular number using while loop. So for that reason, I will be mentioning number less than or equal to 10. So as long as this number less than or equal to 10, what we will do? We will execute the statements that are present inside of this loop. So for that reason, I will just print this particular number here. So after that, what we will be doing, in order to understand this else, we need to have break. So for that reason, I am mentioning a break condition. So here also, I will take some input by user, which is search here. So I am taking input from user, which is search. So I am asking user to enter search element. Search element. So when a user enter the search element, what we will be doing is that we will be comparing that search element with these particular values. If that particular value is becomes this particular number is equal to whatever the search value that we have got from user, we will be breaking the loop. That is what the idea here. So we will be taking this search, and this number is equal to this search. What we do? We will break this. So for that reason, I am mentioning break here. So in while loop, one thing we need to keep in mind is that we need to do some modification statement that affects this particular condition, right? So if we don't mention any such statement, this will go to infinite loop. So for that reason, what we need to do? We need to have a statement that modifies this particular statement, and at some iteration this need to be false and we need to come out of this loop. So for that reason, what we need to do, here we have 1. If we wanted to go till the value of 10 and beyond 10, we need to increment, right? So for that reason, I am incrementing this particular number with 1 so that we can able to go increase this particular number and reach to of beyond 10, we can able to break this particular loop. So after that, what I am doing is that in order to understand this else, I am mentioning an else block here and I am printing the element is not found. The element, the such element is not found. So in order to know we are breaking this loop, in here also we will be printing something. So here we will be printing search element found. Search element found. So that is what I am printing, and we will print this particular element also here. So the element we are searching is search, right? So now if I execute this, it was asking me to enter the search element. I will give, let's say, 4 here. So we can able to see we are getting all these values and we are not going till here. The reason is because we are not mentioning search properly. So because of that reason it is happening. So now if I execute this and give 4, we can able to see the exact result. 1 2 3 4 we are printing through this print, and when the number reaches to 4 and this number and the search are equal, because of that reason search element found is printing and we are breaking this loop. So because it was not going beyond this particular numbers. So now if I give some more number that is beyond this particular numbers, I will give, let's say, 12 here. So you can see the result. We can able to get 1 to 10. After that, we can see the result of this else block, which is the search element is not found. So by this, you can able to understand we will be having this break inside of this while loop, and when this break condition is got executed, we won't able to get this else block. If this break condition is not executed, if this while loop properly exited without break, then we can able to see and do any actions that are present inside of this else block. I hope you have found this video interesting, and I hope you have understood all the things explained in here. Hit the like button. In the next video, we will see how continue works in while loop and for loop. So to stay updated with my latest videos, subscribe to this channel and turn on the notifications to all so that whenever I upload any video, you will get the notification. So thank you for watching this video. See you in the next one.